Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
living or dead, who do you think has been the most powerful sex symbol the world has ever seen? The turtle who single-handedly brought his species out of endangerment by having a fuck ton of sex. His name is Diego and you will show some damn respect. A captive breeding effort for the critically endangered Hood Island tortoises was set up in 1976. By which time only 15 individuals were known to survive. Diego was identified as a Hood Island tortoise by DNA testing and was sent to Santa Cruz Island to join the program. Diego fathered more than 900 offspring who were released on Hispaniola, which helped to increase the wild population to more than 2,000. The breeding program ended in January 2020 and Diego is officially retired and was released into the wild in June 2020. That was a good 44 years. Also worth noting, he was born in 1910. Diego the tortoise. A life well lived. Living. Definitely living. What about that guy's dead wife though? I also choose her. She's the most powerful sex symbol Reddit has seen. Sounds like someone doesn't know how to put the romance in necromancy. There's nothing that will make a girl tingle like gently kissing and nibbling her neck. I love doing it. I'm a genuine necromancer. Helen of Troy. Imagine having thousands of people killed and an entire civilization destroyed for your quest for pussy. My friend, we call that human history. Edit. Thank you for the awards, kind strangers. Was this the face that launched 1,000 ships and burned the topless towers of Ilium? Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. So, now, if the beauty 1 Helen is enough to launch 1,000 ships, then a milli Helen is the amount of beauty needed to launch a single ship. Finally, we have an objective measure and standardized unit of beauty. Topless towers, you say? Victor Hugo. Supposedly all the brothels in Paris closed on the day of his funeral. The prostitutes attended by the hundreds and draped their privates with black cloths as a sign of mourning. His sexy exploits include having sex 83 times in the 4 months before he died at age 83. Having sex with over 200 women in 2 years. It was not unusual for him to have 3 to 4 different lovers in a day. He installed peepholes in the guest rooms of the hotel in Paris where he lived. For 7 years he had a mistress he kept secret from his wife and a second mistress he kept secret from his first mistress. Had sex 9 times with his wife on their wedding night. She got pregnant 5 times in 8 years. He was married to his wife for 48 years till her death. Both had lovers outside the marriage. One of his mistresses was his unpaid secretary, and traveled with him for 50 years. He seduced his son's lover. His son said he didn't blame her for it. The thriving empire of bugs this man must have had living on his dick. ... I was eating. I'm still eating, but now I'm less happy about it. This reads like when I play CK2 with a character focus in seduction. Prince. He will steal your girl. Then steal her clothes. Then steal someone else's girl in your girl's clothes. Then when confronted on all this theft, he'll best you on the court and serve you pancakes. Game. Blouses. Well, it's been about 2,000 years and we're still talking about Cleopatra and her lovers. So I'm inclined to give her that W. Funny enough, they're not much recoded about her looks. It's possible that she wasn't attractive as much as powerful. She did however drink a pearl large enough to be worth a fortune by dissolving it in vinegar in front of Mark Antony. This display of disposable wealth and power was what caught his attention and led to their courtship. It was a sexy power move. Reminds me of the time my ex-wife swallowed a hard-boiled egg whole without chewing and it led to me courting her. Sexy power move. Cleopatra. Undoubtedly. Believing herself to be a living goddess. She would use clever stagecraft to seduce or woo potential allies or enemies to reinforce her divine status. Cleopatra for sure, but not for the reasons people generally think. It's important to keep in mind that a lot of what we've heard in media about Cleopatra being the seductress and all that is based on how much Rome hated her and the sexism that's tied into that. She was extremely smart and calculating and was able to speak 7 to 9 different languages. She's the only ruler from the Ptolemaic dynasty who actually bothered to learn Egyptian. And while yes, she did have relations with Caesar and Mark Antony, it certainly wasn't just out of being some impulsive, overtly sexual person. Augustus viewed her as a huge threat to Rome, which is why he ultimately attacked her and Mark Antony and long after that spread rumors about her to downplay her significance and power. The influence she had over the course of Western civilization makes her the most powerful or at least influential sex symbol, regardless of how hot she really was. She absolutely leveraged it and made it work even harder than it ever should have because of that intelligence. It may have just been Roman propaganda, but supposedly Julius Caesar nicknamed her Golden Mouth because of how good she was at sucking dick. Og throat goat, greater than .. Nancy Reagan .. Cleopatra. I'll believe it. Body and face can only create fleeting fascination. Personality and game is what makes the powerful simp. Stupid sexy Flanders. Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Marilyn Monroe. Honestly, she pushed so many boundaries for women, and I can't even imagine the changes she could have made if she lived her life out fully. Her icon status unfortunately dehumanizes her, and even how smoldering hot her style was. She's now relegated to having her image exploited as a source of ubiquitous and cheap merchandising. And that really cheapens and dilutes what a charming and incredibly charismatic person she embodied. Sounds too obvious, but she had such a far reach. I remember my Japanese grandma who grew up in the 50s be fond of Marilyn. I can't believe this is as far down as it is. She is the first person that came to my mind when I read this post. Same. I fully expected her to be the top comment.